What I wanted from the person teaching was always how do they approach it? What do they do? What did they do to get to the level that they're at? Everyone has their own way, but it is good to learn other people's ways and to maybe implement some of it, to take away some that doesn't work, but figuring it out for yourself. So my workshop is very much, I know we just talked a lot, but it's a lot more talking than actually doing a lot of stuff. I like to share my philosophy and my approach on how I feel like I created the style that I have now. I created it my way. We'll do a little bit of trying some stuff, and I'll come around and help you guys and kind of guide you a little bit. But for the most part, it's more of a philosophy thing on my approach to learning. Okay. So there's a few things that I like to do when I break. First of all, like this is in the context of that you have a certain foundation level already. If you don't have the foundation yet, you practice the foundations, right? You do enough that you feel comfortable with your body. The top rock and footwork, transitioning between everything else, that is the fundamentals, the basics first. You don't have to be able to do everything, right? But you want a certain base level. After that, there's a few concepts that I've not developed. I'm not the first one to do this, but that I recognized over time that happened while I was breaking. First of all, is this idea that I call the building blocks. Starting with blocks and building on top of them to create more concepts. So we're going to do this. I don't know what the level is here. We're going to start with very basic steps and then create kind of building blocks from that to showcase how I view breaking and how I've come up with a lot of my moves. It's a combination of a lot of things, but this is one of them. It's called building blocks. So let's start with the base block. Like if you're building towers or something like that, you guys can spread out and find your own space. We start with the foundational move. Okay, so let's say we start with a 6-step. Okay, can everyone do a 6-step? Can everyone show me a 6-step right now? If you can't do it, it's okay. Just watch some other people. Good. Okay, cool. So 6-step is there's not a lot of room to, so you can spread out a little bit more if you need to. 6-step is a very basic foundational move. But what I love about this concept of building blocks is you can start with any level that you were already at. So you can start with any moves that you already know and apply these concepts to build upon them. And so the more expansive your vocabulary is, the more you can do in the future physically, the more you can kind of play with it. Okay? So we take this idea of a 6-step, and then I'm going to add like another block on top of it. So I start with the most basic concepts. So to me, when I thought about that, it was the concept of, let's say, big and small. Okay? So I take the idea of a 6-step. So you take the idea of a 6-step and it just looks like this, right? And then this is the base there. The next concept, so let's say it's small first, right? So I take 6-step and I take small. So this is a regular 6-step, and when I go small, I go like this. Right? So I'm doing the exact same step, but by adding this concept, this idea of making it smaller, it changes the look of the actual move. Right? So for me, breaking is not interesting when you're riding the same frequency. What I mean by that, if you're doing the same thing, same speed, same level, it's not interesting. What makes breaking interesting is when you start changing. This is the first step. So if I do a 6-step here, and a regular again, right? I haven't changed the actual move. I just added another layer to it. I can do the opposite. The opposite of small is big. So instead of doing something small, I'm going to make it big. So I do a 6-step here. My idea is next.
Das ist vom Fernsehen. Hallo.
So again, I haven't changed the actual move, but I made the move more dynamic. Right? So again, if I'm breaking it like here, and then I go
And I like it because he's a similar height to us. Because I've met some people who are short.
Yeah,
Like Hilu in the match. You don't get a lot of tall breakers.
And so this is the idea we're going to explore. Starting very basic, and then constantly adding layers. And then when you see it,
Yeah,
you'll
Buddha
realize
is built.
concept of concept, throwing ideas on
And
ideas,
it's so light.
some basic stuff, and then getting more complicated. So first of all, I want everyone to spread out. Alright? I know it's a bit hard to speak. White wizard. White wizard. And you're a white wizard. Can I get a little bit easy? Just not super loud, thank you. Alright, so we're going to start with the basic concept. six step, I want you guys to start doing six step. I don't care how fast, how slow. I'm going to say small, and I want you to go small. And then I'm going to say big, and I want you to go big. Okay? We're going to start moving. All right, come down, show me a six step. Yeah, make some space. Be careful. All right, and then go small. So small six step, small six step, small six step. Now big six step, big six step, big six step, big six step. Good. Okay. All right, stop. Okay, cool. So again, really basic concept. Big, small. Okay. We're gonna keep doing this, and I'm gonna play with the more concepts. We're gonna start stacking concepts, but we're gonna take another basic CCs. Okay. CCs are here. Whatever, one hand, two hand, whatever you want. Okay? I want you to do the same thing. This time, I'm not going to show you what it means to you. Right? With the six step, I showed you small and big. So already, there's going to be a bias for you what that means because you've seen me do. What I'm going to do now, I want you to do CCs, and then I want you to do small and then big, whatever that means to you. There's no right answer. And that's the thing about this concept building. It's not like this. Big means that you have to be this big or you have to do specifically this, and that's the beauty of breaking it down. There's no right or wrong answer. So I want you to start with CCs. I'm going to say small, and I'm going to say big, and I want you to show me what that means. Okay? All right, let's go. CCs. Regular. Take your time to your right. All right, let's go small. What a small CC looks like. Good. Now big. What does a big CC look like? Good. Nice. Be careful. Alright, stop. Again, space is hard, so thank you for dealing with me. Okay, so right away, already, again, this is the cool thing about breaking, is that I see people doing different things, right? I see some people, when I say small, they really shrink it. I saw someone, when I said small, they went down on their back, because they think like, this is small, right? So everyone will approach the things differently. If I throw a concept at you, you're going to do it differently, but there's no wrong answer. And so a lot of people ask me, how do you create your style? You're already developing your style right now. When someone throws an idea at you, your interpretation of that idea is the development of your style already. There's no one, like you don't develop, you don't have to consciously think about how do I make my style. Your style naturally develops based on the way you think. So when someone gives you an idea, how you present that idea is going to be different than another person. I'm giving you all the same idea. We're starting with CC. We're going small or big, but what you do, how you do that is very different than the person next to you, right? So already you're starting to develop your own ideas with your staff, okay? So we took something basic, small, big, okay? We're gonna add another basic idea and then start layering, okay? So we're gonna stick with CCs just for spacing and because it's an easy step. We started with small, big, whatever that looks like to you, okay? Now we're gonna go high and low. Again, I'm going to show you what that means to me, but I want you to think about, okay, what does a low CC look like to me, and what does a high CC look like? Okay, so we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to go CC, you're going to do regular CCs, and you're going to go low and high. Okay? All right, let's go. CCs. Take it down. All right, we're going to go low. What does low look like to you? Good. Very good. All right, now we're going to go high. What does high look like to you? Good. Okay, fantastic. Once again, I saw a lot of different variations. When I said low, some people just went down a little bit. They went to their elbow. Some people went all the way down, right? Some people went all the way down to their back. When I said high, some people just accented their CC by going higher with the body. But some people physically went up, right? So there's a lot of different ways you can interpret a concept, and that's the beauty of breaking. So if you think of an idea like a CC is a move that a lot of people use repetitively. Right? A lot of people do CC multiple rounds as like a transition to another move. So imagine if you did a different CC every time. So every time you break, when you get to the point where you're doing a CC, instead of just doing regular, think, okay, I'm going to go high, or I'm going to roll this way, right? Or I'm going to go big, I'm going to go small. And we're going to continue playing with some concepts to give you guys ideas to start, but anything can be a concept, okay? You'll start learning this over time, you start developing your own concepts. I'm starting with very basic ones. So what we're going to do, this concept of building blocks, we're going to now stack it, okay? So we start with the CC, we're going to go low, okay? And I'm going to throw now this concept that I call empty space. When you think of a CC, one-handed, the empty space, for example, is this hand. This
space because for a lot of people, they don't think about it. You know, you're just doing a CC like this. But intentionality and thinking about every single part of your body when you're breaking is super important. What you do with this hand, this empty space that I call, will change the way your breaking will look and that move will look. So for example, even if I'm doing the same step, if I do it here versus if I reach out with that arm, if I decide to put it behind, it's all going to change the variation of that move and what that move looks like. So pay attention to every empty space that you have. For example, even in this position, the hand is an empty space, but the CC all comes from a lower body. When you're doing a CC, it's just a twist of the hips, right? So your entire upper body actually isn't really doing much. You're just shifting. So this also can be empty space. I'm going a little bit fast with the concepts, but for example, if I'm here, I think, okay, my body's not doing anything. This is an empty space that I'm not using. To make a simple movement like this more dynamic, I'm going to use the upper body as well. How can I do that? Okay, maybe I'm going to do like a little bit of wave. So when I'm CCing, I'm waving this way. Right? So already I haven't changed the move. I just added my upper body, and that has changed the idea of that move. Okay? So you start with the base layer of a CC. Okay? You add a concept. Let's say I want to go low. Alright? Empty space is just a concept that you should always pay attention to. What body part am I not using? So the next concept is empty space, is I want you to think of that hand. So we're doing one hand CCs, we're going low, alright? And I want you to use that hand to create something different. Whether that's reaching out, whether maybe you grab your arm, there's like literally 100 different things you can do. And what I find is that once you start playing with one direction, more things start to stack. Like if I'm playing with low CCs and I want to use this hand, right? Maybe I start reaching out, right, to start. And then I realize when I reach out, I can slide down, come around, CC the other way. Oh, that was natural, that felt good, right? So you just start exploring one concept and seeing where that leads you. Okay? Or maybe I reach out, and then right here, instead of reaching out, like when I say reach, maybe some people reach, but another idea is maybe instead of reaching out, I'm going to reach out but look behind my head. So already, that changes the posture and the shape of that move. Okay? So, we're starting with CC, low, or small. I said small, right? Small. So we're going to go CC, small, and I want you to do something with this hand. You don't have to reach, but think of using that empty space in some way. Okay? Alright, go for it. And I'm just going to come around and play with you guys a little bit. So play with that CC, small, and think about that empty space. How are you using that hand? Nice, there you go. Alright, you run it down, and then you know when you're really you run it down, naturally you went around. Right, do that again, try to go quick. 4, 5, 5. Go this way now. Down, down, down. Good. Now think of the same concept, we want to keep it small, right? Or go, whatever I said. Yeah, there you go. Exactly, already you're taking it, making different behaviors, right? Good. Use that hand. Now think small, small. There you go, nice, nice. Alright, so take a little bit of a break. We're going to do the exact same thing, but now with the concept of big. So I want you to remember the way. You start at CC, you start small, which we did, so we're going to go big now. A big CC, and then think of the empty space. So start first with the big CC, right? So if I'm here, for me, if I think big CC, I'm going to go like big, okay? And then I start doing that a little bit, and then I said, okay, what's the empty space? How do I want to make this super big? Maybe it's super big, right? Right? So you start playing with it layer at a time. So you start with CC, big CC, and then, okay, what can I do with this arm in this empty space? All right, give it a try. Let's go. So CC, big, and then play with the arm in some way. The idea of a CC and added a simple additional concept. So every layer you add, there's more possibilities you can start playing. Okay? So we started with CC, the base layer. We went big or small, okay? And then we went, okay, use that empty space. What can I do with this other arm? Now we can start implementing other concepts as well. So I'm starting super basics. All the super simple, but even if they're simple, if you apply enough concepts or just apply it the right way, it's like solving a puzzle. You can come up with something cool. So, this is really hard with the space that we have, so just be a little bit careful. But now let's say like a movement like CC is a static movement that you're staying in one area, right? So now let's apply the concept of space. How can I use my space? So the first thing that I think of, and I do this a lot in my brain, is sliding. Okay, how can I implement the idea of sliding? So you take a basic concept like CC, right? You add this concept of sliding, and it's going to now expand your braking to not just being here, but being able to move around. But let's stack it. So let's say I say CC, and I say small CC, and I want to slide with that. For me, that looks like, okay, I'm going to stay small and slide. And for me, naturally, I just do 2 kicks. For some people, they might do 1, right? And you can change the shape, I don't care. Like the CC is a kick out, but maybe for you it means coming forward, right? I'm sliding and I'm staying small, right? So what I'm going to do now, we're going to start with that. CC, small slide, but I'm just going to start throwing words out. Big, push, okay? And whatever comes to your head, I want you to try in the realm of CC still, okay? So be careful with the space that you have. I know it's a little bit tight, but we're going to try our best. So just, it's okay if you go slow, take your time, okay? So let's start real simple. CC, small and sliding. So we're starting to stack concept, whatever that means to you. Start with the base layer. You start doing the CC, you go small with it, and then you slide it. Nice, good. If you look around, if you take a pause and look around, you can see everyone is doing something different. This is the development of your own style, your interpretation of the ideas being presented to you. Good, nice. Stacking, getting complex. Okay, now I want you to go big and spin. So a CC that is big, and you also add a spin at some point. Alright, so start small. Start with CC. Start going big. What does big mean to you? How do you want to represent big in this case? How can I add a spin to it? Good, right here.
Good.
He's doing a kick out and just
shower
that's a spin. There you go. Nice.
Good.
Alright, come on, let's go. Let's get on track. Good. Back and spin and cross your feet. There you go. Take your time. Take your time. You don't have to continuously go. You can sit and think about it for a little bit. Good. Nice little turn. Good.
We out here, man. You should be here, bro.
So, a lot of my brain is just this. It is this stacking of concepts that you apply in different scenarios. I use CC as an example most of the time when I do a workshop because it is accustomed to all levels. Most people know how to do a CC, and we're using basic concepts, okay? You can start doing this with your vocabulary, with how deep and how far you want to get, okay? You can also, there's like a lot of layers to this. So for example, and I used this in the example last time as well, I can use a concept and apply it to my entire movement as opposed to a specific movement. So we started with a CC as a base layer, but if I throw out the base layer and I start with the concept as the base layer, okay? So a simple concept, again, just using ones that we use is small. So then I just think, okay, how do I make my braking like really small in all scenarios? Right? I'm staying in this tiny zone, okay? So within your vocabulary, whatever you're able to do, you just keep it really small. I can do the same thing, go big, right? Everything that I do, I want to go big, sorry. Right? So what makes braking starting to be dynamic is if I go big to small, let's say. So I start braking, I'm going big, right? And then I go small. And then again, I go big. It's dynamic. I'm not doing anything. I'm just freestyling and I'm moving, but I'm applying this concept that's dynamics in braking does not just mean doing like crazy power or doing physically dynamic. You can be dynamic with your movements, right? A shift in your movement. Again, braking is interesting when it goes like this, which means I start braking at a regular speed, and then maybe I go really big and then really small, and then I go back to normal. That roller coaster, that unexpectedness is what will make your braking interesting, okay? Then we can start digging deeper. So, I'm starting with you guys with just basic concepts, but again, anything can be a concept. So, I have a concept that I call Edward Scissorhands. And it's me, if you see me, I do this, okay? So, I started just doing this randomly. I was listening to music, and the music went like, shoo, shoo. So while I was freestyling, I started doing this. And I realized, oh, this is kind of cool. It's like scissors, all right? From this, I just applied it to a lot of my movements. I started the top rocks, I would go down. If you see this move that I do, it was from that freestyle. Just made it like a scissor sweep, all right? And I made a lot of moves out of this. What started as a concept like this, if you see this move, I do like a wrist slide, is because I started with this concept. The music was like, so I went, okay? So I started adapting a concept. I tried it, that concept, applied to my entire movement, not a specific move, all right? And then I started just adapting it to whatever I was hearing, music, how I was feeling, whatever. So I make a lot, if you watch my breaking, a lot of it is just repetitive movements. I do a lot of repetitive concepts and apply it to different moves and movements. Another one that I do is I started playing with the idea of just like grabbing my elbow. Okay? So I'll show you an example of this one. I'm going to take this mic off for this one. Okay? So I played with this idea of grabbing my elbow, right? So while I was freestyling, the first thing that I did was jump into a freeze. Okay? That's where I came up with that one. I want to go here. As I was playing more, I decided I want to stick with this. I have a transition that I used to do. And so a lot of things is just building off old ideas that I've already had and then applying it to myself. So I used to have a transition here where it was like a switch, okay? So I would do this, I would disconnect the arm, and then connect to the other side, okay? But I wanted to apply this concept to this one, and a lot of it was just reacting. In that moment, I was like, yeah, I want to apply this concept, how can I apply it? So I started doing this, it was here, and
Yo.
same idea, just in a different context. So one was a freeze, one is a spin, like an elbow spin, but they're two completely different moves. They come from the same concept that I applied. But now there are two completely moves that I can use in two different scenarios. Another one that I did is like, I've been working more on power. I was like, okay, how can I apply this now to power? So I was playing around with halos and said, okay, how can I do halos like this? So I started doing it and just halos. So it's just a shoulder move. And these two shoulder moves, I started trying to get this one out, right? So a lot of these ideas for me of breaking come from the fact that like within the realm of breaking, I'm not that physically powerful. I can't do it. But within your restrictions, you can always create. So this is just a shoulder like crossing my arms like this. But that's what made it cool, right? And this will blow someone else out of the water that's doing crazy power that people have seen before, right? Everything that I'm doing is just applying concepts and ideas in different scenarios. So again, this one is just, I want to connect this to this, and you can apply it in any small way. So I start playing here, like, okay, how can I apply this, crash, whatever, how can I play with it? And the important thing is, it's like, you can't be afraid to mess up with those things. We have a saying in breaking called crash and create. A lot of my movements come from crash. Because I think of a concept, I play with that concept, and I fall. But from that fall, I'm like, oh, that was kind of cool, let's try it again. Let's attack it from different angles. But you can't be afraid to mess up with what's doing it. That's oftentimes where the most bad creations will happen. Stepping outside of your comfort zone. Okay? So a lot of this movement was just coming from the concept of, I want to hold it. How can I create something from it? Okay? How can I use this idea and create something? Maybe as a free, maybe as a power move, as a spin, as a footwork step. So the initial thing that we started with was like a CC, which was starting with the base layer of an actual movement and applying concept. The next idea is taking a strict concept and applying it to your overall movements or moves specifically. That's what we're just doing. So we're going to play with this a little bit again. It's going to be hard with the space, but we're going to play with the concept. So I have a move that's not an original move. I'm not the first one to do it, but the transition is what made it unique. Okay? I do a head spin like this, and I call it prisoner because it's like when someone goes to jail, their hands are on their wrist, right? So I started playing with this idea, and then I made this transition of like when I'm moving down here, okay, I got one hand, two here, and then I go up one here, right? But this idea came from this idea of like, I want to be like
so million.
When I started to play here, and you can let go, okay, one hand first, come down, second one, right? That's just freestyling playing around. So I had this idea of the hands on my head during the round, and I just flow in and out of it naturally. We saying is like the 2000 is a very simple thing, but I want you to think of applying this concept to different moves and different movement ideas, right? So if it's simple like that, yeah, you start doing forward, you grab it, you can switch, you can use it, and don't even think of it as like a static thing, right? So maybe I'm here, I go here, right? Like you can use this as a movement in itself, not just like I have to stand here, but think about I can guide it. So maybe I can guide it, like play with it, okay? But this is the concept. I want you to play with it and try to apply it to everything. Don't be afraid to look a little bit dumb when you're doing this, because you're gonna look dumb at some point, okay? When you're playing with ideas. But again, what makes breaking so special and how you find like a unique movement, a lot of the movements I come up with comes from this idea of like stepping outside of your comfort zone. You're playing within your comfort because you're using your natural movement, what you're used to doing while breaking. I'm applying uncomfortable level by giving you a concept you might have not tried. Okay? And that is when you'll reach start. Like slowly climbing up the ladder and reaching these new levels. Okay? So, concept is simple. One hand on top of the other, whichever way you want. You can start simple, you go in and out of it. You can try to keep your hands like this the entire time and see where that takes you. You are completely free to do what you want to do, but this is the concept you're playing with. You're going to place it even, it's going to come around and help guide you to this ideas. By saying something, try this, try this, try this. The beauty of this too is like, I train both by myself and with other people, right? When you're with other people, you get a different perspective, right? And I think this is a cool thing about breaking is exchange. If you see something, when I'm doing it, I only have a first-person perspective, right? Someone else might have a different perspective, and this is what I'll do. Like, when you come around, be like, now, try it. Okay? But also for yourself, if you're ever training by yourself, you do. But anyway, this is the concept. Let's give it a try. Raise it, please. One hand over the other. Nice. Behind the back there. Cool. Hey now. You don't have to stand it the whole time. You can play around. There you go. Nice. Nice. Using it to shoot. Good. Nice. So for example, like you guys are you can start riding. Here. And then, so you can exactly. Good. Nice. I'm going to take this to a different direction. Okay, do it in my top rocks and then transition to my footwork somehow. And then do it in a freeze. And I do it with power again. I know spacing this thing, right? Nice, nice. There you go. You can play with it like illusion, threads, different things. Nice. That's it. Great. I want to just keep running through some ideas. Again, all of this is like my thought process when I'm breaking. It is a combination of it. This becomes more difficult to explain, but I'm thinking about all of this while I'm breaking, but at the same time I'm not. Right? Like I think about it, but oftentimes I'm just reacting to the first idea that comes into my head. So this is how I started training and practicing and coming up with concepts. Is like, I'll do this. Now I just run in and out based on how I feel. Like whatever moment I'm in, like sometimes I'll be moving. I'm freestyle, right? I'm here, I'm freestyle, and my eye catches there. I want to go over there. So I just how do I go to this? Like, I want to get over there. That's the goal. And I just react to the first idea that comes. The first idea for me was to reach over. Alright? But maybe if I'm thinking about this concept, I'm like, I reach over and use this hand to pull. So you just that concept, it's just playing. I'm just playing. I think about the first idea, but this took a lot of time to get to. So for me, like now the way I get to play, I started with playing with one concept and taking my time. Where I am now, with the comfortable level that I am with my dance, is I just go in and out and I jump around. Right? I jump around with concepts, I switch concepts all the time. But that level, to get to that level, was first starting with one concept. Because once you start playing with concepts, you start opening up your vocabulary. For example, a simple concept like this is getting you comfortable working with one hand. Right? Yes, you're still using that other hand, but a lot of positions when you're in, even if you're doing like CCs like this, you're developing your strength one hand. So by developing that strength, you start developing vocabulary with like reading on one hand. So then when you start breaking more and more, you start freestyling more, you start unlocking more ways to move, to develop. And this is why for me, like freestyling within breaking is so important. Because freestyling is like not linear. You're developing your breaking like this. Right? Because I start, okay, I'm gonna jump here, I'm gonna just squat on one leg here, I'm gonna do this here, and you start developing different strengths, and that also starts becoming your style. My style was developed with this. I just kept playing with different concepts. So when I freestyle now, it's just
On beat, taking.
I didn't do a 6-step, I didn't do a CC, right? Playing with different concepts, my body started developing strengths in different ways, holding different abilities. So, for example, I play with this other concept, and I play with a lot, it's like yo hand. And I do this a lot when I'm warming up. How far can I go? So when I'm practicing, I just play with them. Like all the playing for me is just a game, it's just a play. So like, I think of the concept of no hand. How far can I go without losing my hand? Right? And but now I'm strong here. I'm strong in this position here. So while when I use the hands to move it out and be strong, right? I start developing those strengths just by playing with different and random. Okay? So let's try the next concept again. Playing with the idea of something and applying it to all your needs. So this time, no hands. It's hard. If you fall, catch yourself. Don't fall and hit your face. So catch yourself with your hands. But play with this idea of no hands. And one second, when I mean no hands too, it doesn't mean don't use your hands at all. In this context, when we talked about before, your hands are in empty space. How can I use my hands without using my hands? Yeah, there you go. Use it to swing. Big change. Right? There you go, nice, there you go. Now use your hands. Your hands in here, right? Play on the back. Don't put your hands on the floor, but use your big shake. You know, if you grab your teeth, there you go. Good. So even, let's say like, you're playing here, right? You do this.
Yeah! Was it 2016? How are you, bro? I'm good, how are you?
Oh, what was up,
Philwizard. With an X. No, I still remember that like it was yesterday, but those were great times, bro. Yo.
We got smoked the first round.
Yeah, it was a great.
At least we lost to the winners, I think.
Yeah. We got like the toughest team in the country. So, yeah, and we like actually leveled up to them because that was a close round.
We brought it to them. We brought everything we had to. Right, so you're battling tomorrow?
Yes, I'm battling tomorrow.
Shit, dude. Okay, I'm gonna come watch you. Support, man.
Away. It's been a minute, but how's it been, bro?
Good, bro. Married. I got a kid now.
Congratulations. I think I saw that on Facebook.
Oh, shit, yeah.
I don't know about the kid though. I haven't seen that part.
Yeah, kid now. It's wild.
Yo, that's crazy, but it's good, bro. It's good that we're linking up again, bro.
Yeah, it's good to see you.
Yo, bro.
I'm looking forward to seeing what you've
Me
heard.
too. Can we take a picture real quick?